A quiet suburban street seemed like the perfect place for peace, but one man's dream home turned into a battleground the day his neighbor decided to cross a line. It all started when a notorious HOA member, known for her arrogance and constant complaints, discovered who had moved in next door. She didn't see a hard-working professional or a man who had built his life from the ground up. All she saw was someone she didn't think belonged. And from that moment, she made it her mission to make his life miserable. What she didn't realize, however, was that she had chosen the wrong person to target, because the man she thought she could bully was no ordinary homeowner. From the very first week, Karen's petty behavior started to grow. She filed noise complaints when he simply had family over, claimed his lawn wasn't cut to HOA standards, and even accused him of parking his car illegally in his own driveway. Every attempt was designed to push him into frustration, to make him feel unwelcome. Yet he remained calm, refusing to let her antics steal his peace. Behind his calm smile, though, he was taking careful notes. He knew that patience would be his weapon, because he had seen people like her before. And every time she pushed, she unknowingly gave him more ammunition for the storm he was quietly preparing. The breaking point came when Karen's obsession turned reckless. One morning, the men discovered something shocking: his home was listed for sale online. Pictures of his property, his address, even details of the interior were posted without his permission. At first, he thought it was a mistake. But when he saw who had been spreading the listing through HOA channels, the truth hit hard. Karen wasn't just trying to annoy him anymore. She was trying to erase him, to take from him the very place he worked so hard to call home. Most people would have broken down at such betrayal. But this man was not most people. As neighbors whispered and rumors spread, Karen bragged to her close circle that she had found a loophole to push him out. She strutted around the neighborhood with false confidence, certain that her plan would succeed. She had no idea that the men she was targeting had spent years studying every detail of real estate law. And while she was plotting with arrogance, he was preparing with precision. Each document, each violation, each reckless act of hers was being pieced together like a puzzle. He wasn't just going to stop her. He was going to teach her a lesson she would never forget. The day of confrontation finally arrived. Instead of anger, the men invited Karen and the HOA board to a meeting, smiling as though he had accepted defeat. She walked in ready to gloat, convinced that she had cornered him. But as he laid out files, printed emails, screenshots of the fraudulent listing, and evidence of her misconduct, the room fell silent. With every page he turned, Karen's face drained of color. The men spoke calmly, yet with undeniable authority, unraveling every scheme she had tried to build. It was in that moment the board realized they had not been dealing with just another homeowner. They had been dealing with a real estate lawyer who knew the system better than anyone in the room. What followed was a tidal wave of consequences. Karen faced investigations for fraud, the HOA board scrambled to protect their reputation, and the community that once whispered behind his back now stood in awe of how he handled the storm. He didn't raise his voice, didn't stoop to her level, but instead used the very laws she thought she could twist. The irony was undeniable. Karen's arrogance had blinded her, and now it was her turn to face the fallout. For the men, it wasn't just about winning. It was about proving that no one, no matter how entitled, could strip someone of their dignity or their home. In the end, the men stood proudly in front of the same house Karen tried to take from him. The grass was still neatly trimmed, his car still sat in the driveway, and his family still filled the rooms with laughter. Karen, however, could no longer show her face without shame. She had tried to list his home online, but all she managed to do was expose her own cruelty. Justice wasn't loud or violent, it was quiet, calculated, and powerful. And as neighbors watched the final chapter close, they realized the lesson he had left behind. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all, it's letting the truth speak louder than the lies.